Chet Terrier's daughter and son-in-law. I'm going to introduce some of our life members here. Mr. Regal and Marge. You guys can stand up. Lonely but a goodie. Mr. Jerry Haynes is back there. Lauren and Marvin, you guys stand up. And Nancy Selesnik is with us tonight too. And then I'll introduce the past presidents that are with us tonight. I see Marvin's back there. Marvin Street, a past president here at the Waukegan Bowmen. Kenny Pickell is here tonight. Linda Pickell is here. Mr. Dave Thomas is here. Close, are we missing anybody else in here? Ronnie Sala is right next to me. And I've got a few new members here tonight. Yes, she's here. I call them Romeo and Juliet, but this is Juliet and Jack Gray. Is here tonight. Dave and Kathy Miles are here tonight. Okay, and then I'm going to move into hey Jerry, you want to? Yeah. And Linda, you're on the roll here too. So.
Now?
Yeah, well Jerry's going to say a few words here. I'll let Jerry take this. He's really worked hard on this project.
Okay, I put together a memorial for Chet and Marge Terrier. And I know a lot of you people don't know them. They were in our club. They're icons in our club. And what's going on? And if it wasn't for them, we probably wouldn't have our club. They really started everything for us. And we have a historian, Linda Henderson, and she's going to come up and she'll tell you a little bit about both of them. Okay?
Okay. First of all, Jerry just called me Thursday night to tell me that I was doing this. I reminded him that I was the club historian. I resigned 22 years ago. They've never filled the position. So that was sort of a surprise to me. That was his first mistake. His second mistake was saying that he wanted me to come up here and say a few words. Anyone who knows me knows that I am not going to say just a few words. So
I got you in the chair, Linda.
thanks, Tim. You know, I'm very fortunate as I look around the room, there's so few of us left that actually knew Chet, who actually got to spend time with him and Marge and shoot with them and get to know them as people. And so I feel very fortunate that I was one of those. And what I did many years ago, I had good intentions, I just never finished the job. I started by doing some interviews with what we had created at that time, which was our life members. And so I would do a little interview with them. I'd go to their house, they'd show me their keepsakes, their equipment, share different things with me, and then I would write this little article for our newsletter. And for a while, when we would get a new member, it would be part of your initiation packet that you would get this series of letters on Chet and Captain Lucille Green, and I think I did Sulax, and then my life got busy and I just never finished doing it, and that's when I sort of resigned and asked someone else to. I'm sorry we didn't get to everyone, but I want to share with you just a few things that I had written. Well, this I didn't write. This is a copy of our very first Bow Notes, it was called, from Waukegan Bowmen. And for those of you who don't know, our club actually got started in about 1947. And they did not actually really get organized for several years as far as coming out with minutes and a newsletter and actual club meetings. At first it was just hanging out together, shooting by the Sandy's Tavern in Wadsworth on some property some guy loaned them to shoot on. And then eventually they started getting to the point where they wanted to actually form a club. And this was the copy of the very first newsletter, and it was from 1955. And it said in here, I'm not going to read the whole thing, but one of the things it said is the same thing we've been saying since I joined the club in the 70s. How we need people to get out and help. We need you to come out to the work day. We need the women to make some food for the get-togethers. It's pretty much the same thing over and over. We could really just take one of these standard newsletters and copy it and send it out every month, you know. But in here, it said that we all want our bulletin to be a great success, and we need your help with the news gathering and the printing. So all of you would be news hounds and printers, devils, are urged to contact Chet, Eagle Eye, Carrier, at, now some of you will not even know what this is, at ON28662. That's when our phone numbers looked like that. ON286, I think it's a 62 or 82. Do you remember that number? Okay. All right. So from this we can learn that his nickname was Eagle Eye. Now what they've asked me to do is to read the interview to you about that I wrote on him. And boy, I look back at my writing skills, they were pretty poor back then. Chet and Marge Terrier life members. Chet began his hunting many years ago with a rifle. In the mid-40s, he became interested in archery. He became involved with Waukegan Bowmen about 1947 and actually joined in 1948. Chet has owned and shot many different bows over the years. Most of them have been recurves. Starting in 1947 with a lemonwood straight bow, then a hickory wood bow, next a jet aluminum, and then a Grimes all-metal bow. He also had one of Pop John's custom-made bows. Pop John's was the man who started the club and also started the company Old Mastercraft. They made the lamination for bows and are still in existence today in Waukegan. And even though this is 20-some years old, they still are in existence today. Chet went on to buy a very popular bow in the 60s called the Black Ace by Hit Archery. His final purchase as of today is a custom bow made by Bud Shanklin. Chet and Marge were very involved in the shooting aspect of archery. Chet was an expert at target shooting. He had a target set up at work and spent his lunch hour shooting instead of eating. He was also involved in several archery demonstrations. These were set up to teach technique and to promote the general sport of archery. Chet and Marge both hunted. They usually spent their time in Wisconsin and Michigan roughing it intense. On occasion, they rented a cabin. Chet has taken 2 deer. He was always in a ground blind as tree stands were illegal. One of the things Chet really enjoyed was the carp shoots. He was written up in Bowhunter magazine for the huge carp he had shot. The article included a picture of the prize carp. Chet played a big role in building Waukegan Bowmen into what it now represents. He held the office of president in 1956 through 1959, 1960 through 1963, 1967 through 1968, and later became a board member. Many ideas for unusual and fun shoots were introduced to encourage greater participation in club shoots. Some of the different shoots are the golf shoot, in which you had a hole-in-one, greens, and sand traps. The bowl, not bow, but bowl and arrow shoot. The solar system shoot, where you had to hit the planet you picked ahead of time. The ladies' day shoot. The men cooked, kept score, looked for and pulled arrows. After 3, took care of the kids. After 3 p.m., the men were finally allowed to shoot. Sounds like something we should do again. I bet his wife Marge was the brains behind that idea. Another fun thing Chet did along with Tom Stites was to rent a movie theater building. Then they sent away for hunting films and sold tickets to the public. It was fun, but they didn't make enough money, Chet said. Herb, you and I could do this with all the movies you've got. Chet and Marge were very active in skits that the club had at our banquets. At one of the banquets, Chet dressed up in an authentic-looking Indian costume and did an Indian dance. I see someone laughing back there. Were you at that banquet?
No, but I remember the outfit.
Do you remember the outfit?
She wore it to work.
Chet and Marge were very active for many years in the club. In 1969, they were made life members. Today, they have a big interest in bowling. They spend much time with their bowling and have basically given up the archery. But wait, guess who just showed up at the Lucille Green shoot with his bow? After I did this article, I convinced him to get his bow out, come out to the club, and do some shooting with all of us again. And we had a great time and enjoyed him very immensely. They continued to come to our banquets until the point where they physically weren't able to. I know there were club members here who were kind enough to go pick them up and Captain Lucille Green drive them to the banquet, drive them home so that they could still be with us. And you know, it's really sad, but you know, they've both passed on and we all miss them dearly. But we want to do this for all of those of you who don't even know about these people that built our club. They were the foundation. At one time, there was nothing here but empty woods. And there were no buildings, there were no driveways, there was nothing. And Chet is one of those people, and Marge, who worked and built this, along with other people like Chet and Marge's best friends, Cap and Lucille Green. The trees that are out in our parking lot, those great big gigantic pines, they planted those. They were 3-4 inches tall when they planted those. Nancy's shaking her head. You were here too, right? And people like Nancy and Frank. There's this group of people who built this club. Joe and Jean Stites, that clubhouse. I think of the work Joe did and Dave Regal and a lot of you guys. I mean, sometimes I think people might look at some of the older crowd and say, well, they don't really do a whole lot anymore. But you don't realize they built this. They did it all. And they gave up so much of their family time and so much of their lives to create what we have now. So to all of them, we thank you.
At this time, I'd like to have Penny come up, and we'll do the unveiling of the memorial.
And to Jerry and Seal, who have done so much for this club, including what you're about to see.
Hello everyone, I'm Penny Mansko and this is my husband John. On behalf of my sister Pat, or Patty, as probably some of you used to know, and my brother Rob, I really do appreciate everything that we're about to do here. The Waukegan Bowmen was a huge part of my parents' life. I remember spending Wednesday evenings out here while they would go out and shoot, and we'd be running around and playing. And my sister, this was a big part of her life too. Hunting, and most of our movies that I have, that my dad had, are of hunting and are of the Waukegan Bowmen. So I really do appreciate this, Jerry. This is huge. Dad would have loved this. He would have been out here shooting. I remember him shooting in the backyard. I remember him shooting at work. He did have a target set up at work. And he was very serious about shooting, and he was extremely good at it. And I think I still have some of his trophies at home from years ago. So thanks, Jerry, for this. I really do appreciate it.
You gotta get up there and get a real picture. Don't be messing around way back here.
Remember the bowl, and then, yeah, his medals, his arrows. This is my sister, my mom. I remember these yellow shirts that would hang in the closet with the black tassels. I swear, I think Lucille made them. Probably Lucille was our neighbor in Waukegan, and she made a lot of stuff. So thank you. That's just Lucille.
Okay, at this time, I'd just like to play a tune that I composed. Everyone has passed away here today, didn't get it. And anyone in your life that's passed away. It's called Waltz in the Woods.
Thanks, Jerry. Thanks a lot.